So speaking of number 10, we're going to go back to Coutinho because he's the main focus here. Barcelona isn't using a number 10 per se. And then I'm not talking about the shirt number. I'm talking about literally like the attacking midfielder, what you'd expect from a number 10. And he's going to have to me, play coming off that left wing. So I've already given the point here about what I'm going to say, and that pushes Memphis to the middle. So with Coutinho, I'm looking through it, and I don't know how he doesn't start on the left wing. I'll let you respond to this first, but there's no way that he should be in a midfield three. That doesn't make any sense to me. And he should be coming off the left wing. That's the only chance that he has of, I think, being even useful. Do you agree with that? Do you see the same thing?
I think his ideal position in the Camp Nou is when I'm in the stadium and he comes into the stands and maybe he gives me a foot rub while I watch the game. That's about as close to the pitch as I want him.
Right. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. So you're going to have to watch him. So let's do the thought experiment.
Okay. For me, midfield. I don't like him at the on the left wing for Barcelona. Even less so already having Memphis and Griezmann and Yusuf Demir on our squad, who when they play in the offense, they are already like the guys who want the ball in the feet and try to play off of either people making runs in front of them or people playing with the back to the goal in front of them. So for me to add Coutinho to that mix is the same mistake that we made previously when we had Coutinho on the team and Valverde kept playing him on the left wing. I just don't think that works for us. I think it might work if we had different forwards that he could combine with. And then if he would have a free role starting from that left wing. But that is not our reality. We signed him for midfield. The person who scouted him and made the decision was very clear that the reason that he signed him was to take over on midfield. Unfortunately, the club was such a mess that the people making the signings and the coach were not aligned at all on how to use certain players. So we signed a player for 120 plus 40 million in order to play on the left wing, even though we signed him in the midfield. If we had stuck with him in the midfield the year that we got him, maybe he would have adapted.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about that. I think for the system that Barcelona is playing, especially with Busquets still as that pivot, I think he gives the ball away too much as a midfielder. His rate of ball retention is just so much lower than De Jong, Pedri, Busquets, and any midfielder that's been successful for Barca for the last 10 years or something. And the other reason for left wing is because, we want to make sure, where does he fit in this ideal world to make sure that it makes sense? Because I agree with you that you cannot play Griezmann and Coutinho together, especially on wings, where one is an inverted winger at best, trying to get onto his right foot from the left, that being Coutinho, and the other one is a secondary striker trying to get onto his left foot from the middle, putting them in precisely the same half space on the field, which does not leave a lot of wiggle room for anybody. And then defensively, how are you set up in the right position to defend counterattacks? The answer is you're not. And that's why Coutinho just looks like, even though he's trying to defend, he's not defending in the right positions. But then looking at the way he succeeded, he played fine, is what I want to say, as a central attacking midfielder. So he technically did play as a 10 at the beginning of last season when they were playing that 4-2-3-1. Messi was out to start the year, so that's an important note. And Coutinho was playing decently enough next to Fati. It wasn't earth-shattering, but he was helping the club win matches, and he was more a net positive on the field than he was a net negative. But now this year, yeah.
So I'm agreeing. He was okay.
Yeah. So I keep looking and staring at the page and the roster, and until Fati comes back, which apparently is after the September international break, but we're still going to be hopeful and patient on him, along with Miguel coming back then. And then Dembele is in October, November, whenever. Braithwaite was technically the left winger against La Real. And then that leaves Memphis and Griezmann, who also started on that front three, to play as the left winger. Aguero and Minaj are strikers, and Yusuf Demir is only a right winger at this time in his career. He's not yet comfortable on the left at all. So to me, that says that Barcelona are going to, and then Callado the same. I mean, the manager doesn't trust him, totally out on loan. But if they are going to play him, then he should be on the right as well. So Barca are going to need Coutinho. It looks like they're just going to need him on the left because they don't have that many left wingers. They're another injury to Fati, or God forbid, an injury to Griezmann or Coutinho. I mean, Griezmann or Memphis, or else you're basically saying that Martin Braithwaite is going to start what 25 to 30 matches on the left wing if Fati isn't healthy. I mean, is that what we're talking about?
I mean,
I'm missing.
I prefer Braithwaite next to Depay and Griezmann than Coutinho.
Well, yeah, so do I.
Because the best team or the best combination of players are not always the players who have the most talents, but the players who fit best together, right?
You're right, but even rotation, we're not just talking starting. I'm saying is like there's, I mean, almost 50 matches in a season. So, I mean, you're going to have, that's what I'm saying. So you're going to have play 70 to 80 minutes, I mean, for every match. And that's what I mean. Like, where is the depth on the left wing if Fati's not healthy and Dembele's not healthy either?
We have Memphis, we have Griezmann, we have Braithwaite. All of them can play on the left wing. We have Yusuf Demir, who has also played on the left wing on occasions. We have Pedri, who has played on the left wing for Koeman. I don't know if we have anybody in the youth setup right now. Maybe Elias, but it's still too early for him, I think.
And Elias Akalmash is better on the right wing as well. I mean, you have on the left wing, you basically have Niels Mortimer and then Zachary Gailan are the two that are currently like floating around there for Barca B.
Sure, but you could call up Elias in order to move Griezmann to the left, for example.
Sure. Yeah, so, I would do that with Demir. I mean, obviously, he's sitting there already. So yeah, I mean, I understand that. I'm saying, you know, injury wise, cataclysmically, on the left wing, because again, you and I are trying to game plan this so that why would you need to have Coutinho on the field at all? And I agree with you. I mean, I'm going to say something really crazy here that I'd rather play Ricky Puig over Coutinho at left wing given the choice. And I do say that in earnest, that Ricky Puig, he played false nine throughout most of his academy time. Then he moved back in the midfield. And clearly what he's doing in the midfield is not enough to get him a spot. And there are certainly things that he's missing there. So I would throw him out on the left wing than I would Coutinho, just because he is a little more comfortable with the style that Koeman's going to be playing in that 4-3-3 this year than Coutinho is. And I don't
think that's crazy at all.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate that. I feel a little sane, but you know, the thing about Coutinho, I think that's even more frustrating to connect to the price tag is that what we're always expecting of him based on the price tag is that he is such a confusing 29-year-old that he came up in Vasco da Gama's system where he was really, really promising, but still only 3.42 million euros was paid by Inter Milan to see how promising he was. Didn't really work out at Inter, goes to Espanyol under Pochettino. It's fine at Espanyol. It only plays 16 matches, 5 goals. That's good. But again, not anything special when he left in January on loan. So not that many opportunities. Then to Liverpool for 5 years on an 11.7 million euro transfer. And he was best when the lights were brightest. And that's when he really shone at Liverpool. But even at Liverpool, you wonder if it was just the timing and the circumstance in which he got his opportunity. Because the minute they had an established front three of Mane, Firmino, and Salah, they were like, oh, of course we'll sell Coutinho to Barcelona. We don't really truly need to hang on to this guy. But the funny thing is, he just, and this is the numbers that I looked at, he's just off his goal scoring record with Liverpool at Barcelona. At Barcelona, he has 23 goals and 90 appearances. For Liverpool, it's 54 and 201. So he's just off the pace of what he scored at Liverpool, right? And so how can he be doing a similar job in Barcelona than he's almost on pace to do at Liverpool, where he was breaking the world open, right? I know
how many goals could he score in his last two seasons at Liverpool?
Well, it was the lion's share of those in the last 2 seasons. So he basically has
let me check real quick.
It was also 11 and 38 for Bayern and 5 and 16, as I said, for Espanyol, but those are smaller sample size. So yeah, it's weird too that personality wise, we're expecting him to be this world breaker. We're expecting to be this 160 million euro personality, but he's not. He's like this quiet guy that even the Brazilian national team has not flocked to because he just doesn't have that off the pitch thing. I mean, the fact that he did the ears at the Camp Nou is so uncharacteristic from everything we've always seen from this like soft-spoken player in his career.
Right.
And it's so odd. I mean, because in most other circumstances, there's no COVID and you can get rid of these kind of players that just don't fit. But that's what you're stuck with.
No, we already had trouble getting rid of him before COVID.
Right. That's true too.
I do think that the reaction of the Camp Nou to his putting his fingers in his ears was way over the top. Like I never felt insulted when he did that. I see footballers do things that bother me a lot more than somebody putting his fingers in his ears, which Memphis does all the time, by the way. So, I wonder if everybody wants Memphis out the moment that he scores. So that was never an issue for me. I just thought that he was a spectacularly poor fit, so much so that despite all of his talent and all of his quality, I still struggle to see where he would fit right now. However, if we play him, I would sooner play Coutinho in midfield and push on the left wing than vice versa, even.
Yeah, I can't. I think for me, it's a depth wise. I cannot get myself to say that he should be playing over. Obviously, he's not going to play over Pedri de Jong on the interior spots, but I don't see how he at the interiors plays over Roberto, Puig, or even Gavi either. I would take all three of those before I pick him.
But same here.
Yeah, I mean, so we're just trying to posture. I mean, we're trying to figure out why Ronald Koeman is saying I like him and I want to use him. Is this truly just posturing? Is he actually not going to use him? Is this truly just Koeman? I mean,
I think Koeman likes him.
But where? That's what I'm saying. Is like you and I even can't seem to figure out where that is.
Well, I told you where I would like him.
Right, and I said
I don't think Koeman shares my thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, it could be as soon as this weekend against Athletic Club that we might see him on the field, but I'm not sure about that. But I think it also might be another week or two. Barca B does start at the end of the end of the month. So that is when Balde and Gavi and Demir will likely be heading back down. So that bench for Barcelona is going to get awful thin, and you're going to see faces that you don't really want to see on the bench.